Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the recap of 1460s and preparations for the 1470s. But before we proceed, please don't forget to click like, subscribe and leave a comment, and let's jump right into the video. And let's actually start with the preparations part first, because there's not many. As you probably know, today is Monday and I usually post Ultimate Decades Challenge videos on Tuesdays, but this decade, the next decade, 1470s, is the Express decade, which means that I will be posting for 2 weeks every single day until we are done with the whole decade of 1470s, obviously. Therefore, I didn't really have time to prepare and I'm very behind with the videos, but I did do something, you know. So I cassetted overall 16 new sims, which potentially all of them will be joining us this upcoming decade. And I decided not to do a poll for those sims because they're just random sims from the gallery. It was late at night when I did it, and I didn't save the names of the original creators, but they were like sort of popular now sims, single sims households on the gallery. And I edited them in cast to my liking and with CC that I currently have. So I'll quickly show you who we have so you'll get to know them before they join the challenge potentially. And the first one here is Natalia, or maybe Natalia Valero. So potentially she is Italian, therefore Natalia. And here she is. I really like how she turned out with the CC. And yeah, I'm just experimenting with some outfits that I have never tried, because once, especially for female sims, once we realize which family and which lineage they will join, then their outfits changes based on that. Next up we have Sydney, who I don't think is a good name option currently, so I might change it. I really like her. I think she looks great, and I got to use the skin that I never get to use, which is Posy. Next one is Diana, and I love her. She was so interestingly made, like in gallery. So there she is. Very interesting skin tone, very interesting facial features, I think. So I cannot wait for her to join the challenge. Next up is Emiko, and I love her. I couldn't wait to use this hair for the longest time possible. And next up is Sierra. You can probably imagine why we have an alien sim in the lineup, because we have a lot of alien weddings coming up and we have a lot of alien sims. So I thought it would be fun to actually marry 2 aliens in one of the side households. And she actually came with those horns. I didn't even know they existed. Maybe I knew they existed, but I didn't know they existed in this shade, so you could match the skin tone to it, you know? I just kept it. And I finally got to use this hair, because it was very hard to find hair that wouldn't like intermix with the horns. I didn't really change her much, just so you know. There's just a skin overlay, lips, hair, and eyebrows. The rest is how she was created, and I finally got to use this color option of this outfit. Like, I have this medieval outfit and it has this very sort of vibrant, childish colorway, which I love personally. Like, it's really my style, but it's not really true to time period. But for this sim is perfect, and I cannot wait for her to join the challenge. Next up we have Anok. My edit of her is quite basic. She actually looks amazing with sort of like short hair or like updo. And I love how everybody is using skin shine nowadays in the gallery. I never really use it, but I absolutely love how it looks on sims. Like, you can see how she shines, like, whoa. I'm shocked. Very beautiful sim, love her. Then we got Eliza, or Eliza. Potentially this one is Eliza. I'm not sure how to write both spellings. Is it like even written differently? I'm not sure. Anyway, she has all this skin details which actually like covered from like head to toe all over her body, and I love it. And she also has freckles. Like, there's so many details to her. I only had a few sims with skin details, never ones that I made it into the challenge. Always if the child, like infant, aged up and they had skin detail, then I would keep it and would carry it throughout the ages. So very excited for her to join the challenge as well. And the last female sim is Amani, and I love her. She has such an interesting face shape as well, sort of like shorter face, I would say, normal chin, but then it's sort of like, I don't know, it just goes into straight into cheekbones. Maybe because my face shape is completely opposite of this one, that's why I'm like, wow. And I love this whole like face part as well. And I gave her big hair to kind of emphasize it. And I love this dress and this shade. I never used it before. So yeah, here are the 8 newcomer sims. Leave a comment down below and let me know which one is your favorite. I'm very curious, because I think this lineup is very fun. And now let's check the boys out, and there's also 8 of them, and they are very good looking, so get ready for that. The first one is Nikolai Hairston. Might be British, right? I love his nose, honestly, that's so different from the Sims that I have. He looks amazing. He's not my favorite from the lineup though. Next up is Tyler. I finally got to use this shade of this outfit for him. So in my head, he's like maybe a carpenter in a way, but maybe he's like working with metal mostly. Maybe like prepares swords and tools, you know. Very important job in that time period. Next up is Ezra. There are a lot of Sims in the gallery with the mustache, and I actually liked how they look like, so I decided to push the mustache everywhere in this lineup. Next one is Pedro Santiago. Potentially this will be one of the next comers in Spain. He actually has a very interesting face as well. It's very narrow overall, but still has like cheeks, you know. I love that, like that's so different. He potentially will marry Maria Garcia in Spain. The next one is Julio, not my favorite, but I saw this hair on him, and this used to be one of my favorite hairstyles, no CC hairstyles, so that's why I added him. Now, next one is my favorite, and his name is Lonnie. This sim precisely Lonnie, he looked amazing even without any CC on him. So good. I cannot believe that this is in-game character, you know? Can't wait for him to join the challenge. I will probably change his name though. I want him to be like more into me in Mediterranean area, so maybe Turkey, maybe Italy, maybe Spain. Who knows where we will need the marriages, right? The next one is Zane Spicer. Love the surname, definitely joining in some English-speaking area. Even though originally I added him thinking he would be like a German sim or something, I really want to keep the surname Spicer. I think it's really nice surname. And the last one, I have no idea how to say his name. Deandre. I don't know, okay? This one, for me, will be potentially, hopefully, if we get to have another French sim, he would be perfect, in my opinion. He has this nose, like Cassandra Goth nose, I call it. It's this like preset in the gallery that Cassandra Goth has, and I really like it. And our main household had this nose shape for a long time. It's gone now. Very cool sim as well. I really like how he turned out. And well, similarly to females, leave the name of your favorite in the comments. Let's do it this way rather than the poll. Since I don't know the creators, I didn't want to put them in conditions where it's sort of like competing for something they didn't agree to. Like, it just feels weird, you know? Also, after I did them, now I'm at 100 living sims that like I control, but this includes the imaginary friend sim that is waiting to get married to Drew in future, and some other sims that are still in the queue to marry into the challenge. So like, we're not just starting with those 18 sims and like they're gonna join immediately. First, I have to fulfill the previous obligations, right? And well, saying that, this is our preparations for the next decade. I didn't change anything in the house because we are so close to the next century. I just don't see a reason to change something in the house yet. But let's, as quickly as possible, recap 1460s now. And well, 1460s began with 2 battles during the War of Roses in England, but luckily none of our sims were in danger. Nobody went. Stephanos Drakos got married in Greece, and Nargiray and Antonio Angelo aged up into teenagers. Nar is from Turkey and Antonio is from Italy. Elena Byrne from Ireland and her cousin Logan Farmer from England, both aged up into young adults, but they had very different paths in life. Elena joined the order as a nun, while Logan started to prepare to have his own family. And the biggest surprise that year came from the Miracle Wheel, well, the special Miracle Wheel that I did for Ireland for St. Patrick's Day, because out of all the choices there, it decided to resurrect Felice Byrne, and she received one more baby try. 1461 was another year filled with battles for the War of Roses. And actually, King John II Landgraab of Willow Creek went to the Battle of Towton, and he safely returned. But unfortunately, the royal household suffered major loss because Prince Malcolm Landgraab died after the return of his father. In the main household, Joyce, well, the eldest child of the Greenwoods, became a young adult and joined the order as a nun, and she kind of followed her best friend slash cousin, a Miss Farmer, who joined the order like some years before that. In Scotland, Anselm's alien twins aged up into toddlers, while Angelo in Italy became a teenager, and the Byrne household in Ireland had a lot of children aging up, including Brigitte, Alice, Edmund, and Iad Byrne. 1462 was a calmer year. Once Drew aged up into a child, he joined Alex and Edwin in their love for archery, and they started to compete. Also, Bonnie joined, which was fun. I also had this weird desire to take out the tombstone that I had in my Sims inventories, which led to Alex, who is the head of the dynasty, to actually spend time with ghosts of his parents and his grandmother. Outside the main household, Princess Nancy Landgraab of Hanford-on-Bagley aged up into a child. In 1463, we celebrated Martinmas. In Turkey, Yanni Girey married Rose, while the Spanish twins Diego and Domingo aged up into teenagers. And I would say the most important in the main household, Alex Greenwood, the head of the dynasty, was no longer a child, he aged up into a teenager. And he kind of shifted his desires for archery into swordsmanship at this point. Also, Alex's stepmother, Bonnie, aged up into adult, and in Willow Creek, Princess Diamanda Landgraab aged up into a child. In 1464, we celebrated St. Nicholas Day. Nargirey, who was originally from Turkey, married the iconic Caleb Vatore and moved to Italy, while in Greece, Stephanos Drakos remarried because he lost his wife Mina a year earlier, so he married Skylar. The protected Angelo household in Italy suffered a major loss because the heir of this household, Antonio, died before he could become a young adult. In the main household, Edwin Greenwood, who at this point became the heir of the main household, aged up into a teenager, but so did his Scottish alien cousin Tom, and both of them rolled well their d20 dice rolls, and they were gonna get married and have children. We also had a lot of infant birthdays in this video, like good ones. So Khadija Girey, Maria Drakos, Eric Byrne, and Asghar Farmer all became infants. In 1465 we celebrated Advent, which basically meant that nobody in the world were getting married or trying for babies this year. But somehow the year ended up being full of surprises anyway. In the main household, the head of the dynasty, Alex Greenwood, was abducted by the aliens. The royal Landgraabs in Willow Creek and Hanford-on-Bagley had terrible luck, and we lost both kings, John II and Demetrius, and also John's wife, Queen Katie Landgraab. And this situation left Colin Landgraab, who just became a child, as a new king of Hanford-on-Bagley. 1466 seriously seemed calmer after the previous year, and we had great luck with teen birthdays. Adam Greenwood in Scotland, Lorenzo Angelo in Italy, and Maria Garcia in Spain all successfully aged up into teenagers. In the main household this year, both Alex Greenwood and his stepmother Bonnie were abducted by the aliens on 2 different occasions. And it honestly made me feel like Alex is sort of falling into his grandfather's steps, because Walter was constantly abducted by the aliens, and that's how I ended up having aliens as a cult part of the storyline, you know? In Italy, Angela Angelo married Luis Vecchio, so we have a new family in Italy, the Vecchio family. Meanwhile, in Poland, Walenty Borowski returned home from the 13-year war. After losing his wife Barbara years before, he actually married Helen Sparrow, but they only had one baby try, which has failed, and therefore Walter's only son, Jan Borowski, became the only hope for Poland in my challenge. 1467 was a special episode because that's the episode of my YouTube channel anniversary week, and we celebrated with double Miracle Wheel spins this year. And it was very interesting results, because actually Miracle Wheel gifted us 3 new families. So it was Sims who previously rolled to never get married, but ended up getting married because of the Miracle Wheel. So both nuns, Amis Farmer and Joyce, were destined to get married. Amis married Scrubs the Ref, the sim from Get to Work, and they moved to France, while Joyce married David Boyd, and they moved to Scotland, which created a second protected household in Scotland. And Scotland seems very strong to me right now, even stronger than England, to be very honest. And the third marriage was Daniele Angelo, who previously wrote To Never Get Married. He married Azalea. The head of the dynasty, Alex Greenwood, aged up into young adult and was ready to start his family in the next video. But so did Spanish twins Diego and Domingo Aguilera and the vampire Don Lothario. But unfortunately, Poland's only hope, Jan Borowski, aged up into teenager and wrote To Never Get Married. I did end up putting his name in the miracle wheel, but it didn't happen. Like it wasn't one of the results, so therefore we knew that we would have to restart Poland in future. In 1468 we celebrated Ostara, but the main event honestly was the wedding of Alex Greenwood. He married Mona, a Maxis Gallery upload. It's a sim who was in promo materials for the Sims 4 Romantic Garden stuff pack. And in the gallery she's actually a ghost, but I revived her, but as a sim she still knows that she died before, which is crazy, right? By the end of this year, they welcomed their firstborn, Brian Greenwood, who became the new heir of the Greenwood household. But of course, this was not the only wedding this year, since so many Sims, well, male Sims, aged up into young adults last year. So we had, I will look in my notes, Diego Aguilera married Jasmine in Spain, and his twin brother Domingo married Megan in Spain as well. And Don Lothario married Gabriela in Italy. Anselm Greenwood aged up into adult part 2, like it was a nice role and I was very happy. He's one of my favorite Sims, and his child versions is actually in my own private save with his alien mother, in case I need to do some weekly challenges or I just want to play Sims on my own time. That's the family I play with. This year also made me notice something interesting, because Amis and Joyce, who both got married this year, they were besties, since Joyce is the eldest child of the main household of the previous generation. She was actually friends with Amis. Amis was her best friend and cousin. Amis would always come over to the house and I would always say, oh, Amis is here, talk to Joyce. And then they became nuns as well, so they were in the same household. Yeah, I didn't play the household, but they were both in that household of church Sims, right? And then they got married as well, so Miracle Wheel blessed them both with marriage. Once they started trying for babies, I opened their relationship panel and realized that now they hate each other and they're no longer friends. Very sad, right? And well, the last year of the previous decade, 1469, it was the year we celebrated Carnival. And well, celebrated Carnival sounds amazing, but we just cooked stuff. You know, nothing really happened. This year, Edwin Greenwood, the younger brother of current head of the dynasty Alex, moved out of the main household to start his own family with Evelina in England. Even younger brother of Alex, Drew, aged up into a teenager, and so did his imaginary friend. And the imaginary friend became a real person, which in this video I have this little part where I actually cast edit the imaginary friend. And I have this idea that Drew will actually marry his humanized imaginary friend. This is like a weird storyline, but it has to be done at some point, right? So it's happening. The newborn heir, Brian Greenwood, aged up into an infant. And I already touched on the previous year. It seems that being in the dynasty really affects relationships a lot. And Alex being the head of the dynasty, a lot of Sims that I love and have like warm feelings towards actually hate Alex. For example, Anselm, his sons Tom and Adam, but also older sister of Alex, Joyce, hates him too, but it seems that Joyce hates everybody at this point. But this is like due to the dynasty policies that he enforces, right? In my head, Alex is in the right because he became the head of the dynasty as a child, so yes, he's making mistakes, yes, they hate him. But he has his own life and his own growing up and understanding the world situation, so therefore it is what it is. This year we also had 2 more weddings. Tom Greenwood, well, the alien Tom Greenwood in Scotland married Maitland, and Guido Angelo married Matilda in Italy. And those sims were coming from one of the viewers, which is very exciting. Don't forget to use my hashtag if you have any sims that you would like me to add to the challenge, and I'll put my hashtag on the screen somewhere. Princess Nancy Landgraab aged up into a teenager, but had horrible marriage dice rolls, so she will not be getting married. And her stepmother, Queen Sierra Landgraab, died, leaving Nancy to look after the younger Landgraab siblings, well, the King Colin Landgraab and Princess Diamanda Landgraab. And potentially this is the reason why we can say that Nancy never got married, because while she was still a child, she had to take care of 2 younger children. And well, guys, this will be it for the recap. Please, if you have time and desire, feel free to leave your feedback on the recap episodes. For me, am I touching on enough subjects for the previous century? Do you want me to do something else? Shall I maybe remodel things? Shall I cast edit sims in this sort of recap while I'm talking, for example? Everything is super welcome. I'm just brainstorming, trying to figure out what would work better. And yes, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and kind reminder that starting today, every single day except Thursdays, because Thursdays are my unboxing videos, we will have an Ultimate Decade Challenge episode of the next decade, 1470s. Thank you and bye!